In this section, we're going to look at integers. We're going to look at number lines, greater than, less than, absolute value, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So we have quite a bit to go through. Let's start with the number line, okay? They want you to be able to visualize this. The negative numbers are on the left of 0. The positive numbers are on the right of 0. So if we were to graph the -3 on this number line, -3 would be down here. If we graph +4, that would be to the right of 0. And if we graph 0, 0 would be in the middle. Now we use their placement to decide if things are greater than or less than. So in this instance, -4 and -1 are graphed here. You can see that -4 is on the left of -1. So this means that -4 is less than -1. Also notice that -1 is on the right of -4. So that means -1 would be greater than -4. One thing to remember is the arrow always points to the smaller. So when we look at this one, -4 is smaller, so the arrow would point to that. This is called an inequality symbol, and this stands for less than. This one is greater than. -1 is greater than -4. The arrow points to the lesser number, the one that's on the left. So let's look at this one. They want us to put either less than or greater than here. So we have -4 and 3, -1 and -5, -5 and 2, 0 and 3. Let's look on the next slide where we can compare them on a number line. Okay, so -4 would be here, and +3 would be here. So you can tell that -4 is on the left. It is less than a +3. Okay, let's look at the next one. The next one says -1, that's here, and -5. Okay, so you can see how -5 is on the left. The arrow has to point to the -5. That means -1 is greater than -5. Okay, let's look at the next one. -5 is here, -2 is here. -5 is on the left, so it is less than -2. So -5 is less than, it would point to the -5, the -2. If we wrote it the other way around, it would say -2 is greater than -5. That's how that would be. Okay, let's look at the last one. We have 0 and we have -3. Okay, -3 is to the left. It is less than. Okay, so the arrow needs to point to the -3. This would be 0 is greater than -3, or we could say -3 is less than 0. They also have greater than or equal to symbols. This means 2 is, I said greater than, and I was pointing to the less than. I apologize. This is the greater than or equal to. This is the less than or equal to. 2 is less than or equal to 9. It is less than. But we could also say 9 is less than or equal to 9 because it does equal 9. So we could say 2 is less than 9, but 9 is equal to 9. Here, 9 is greater than or equal to 2. Okay, it happens to be greater than. The or means it can be either one. Okay? 2 is greater than or equal to 2. Well, it happens to be equal to 2. And last thing on this video we're going to look at is absolute value. Absolute value is the distance from 0, and it is never negative. That's what you need to remember. It's always a positive. So the absolute value of -3 is going to be a +3. Okay? We've got it on the next slide. Nope. We'll do it on this one. The absolute value of -3 is +3. The absolute value of 5 is +5. It's always the positive. It's the distance from 0, so it's always positive. So you take whatever the number is in there and make it positive. Now, 0 is just 0, okay? It's not positive or negative. That one would just be 0.